Tribe, welcome back. It's me again, Mr. Hall, spiritual healer, leader, author, founder, mentor, guide, unexplainable, undeniable. Reality is still catching up with logic to define what I am and what we are to an extent, right? So, as soon as I begin the reading, I begin to channel. A few things that I've picked up are cloning, right? This separation between the matrix and also hive mind and also um, breaking through limiting beliefs and perceptions into sense, okay? Because the way that this was given to me was that it's not the 90s anymore, right? Things that made logic in the 90s does not make sense now. Things are as above, so below, tipsy topsy, a little bit turvy. Okay, that's the way that it came through. So with this, I'm picking up on a collective energy, possibly of being in a state of love is, right? Understanding an equilibrium throughout the logic of consciousness, as best we are able to put it into words for the human experience, okay? So that may be very significant for someone. Depending on where you are in your spiritual journey, you're awakening to consciousness, you're awakening to sense logics, different modalities, being multidimensional, being aware and able to recognize energies, frequencies, vibrations in different densities throughout yourself. Um, some of the messages may resonate, some of them may not, okay? And it feels as though you've broken free, you've set yourself free from any of the chaos that is external or attempting to be projected into yourself. So this is really beautiful. This is really good energy. So you may have been feeling very light and free today. These readings are outside of time, as in timeless, past, present, and future. But in this accumulative space of existence, okay, this collective space of existence, we're finding, excuse me, ways to release. Okay? If you're familiar with the term spiritual birth within certain spiritual communities, all right, you may want to look into that. And also, I'm picking up that some of you, similarly to a lot of the collective, may have gone through a very difficult time of experiencing abundance in reverse, feeling that, abundance in reverse, feeling that it's not up to you, right? Your reality is not up to you, or that you got a definitive no from the universe and reality itself. And this, depending on the many different perspectives we can take on this, and this is the Angels Answers deck, okay? Angels, demons, devil, light, God, evil. This duality is being separated, and we're separating from this dualistic nature of understanding, because being in a place of duality is not going to be successful in the very near future. So really understanding how both aspects of all perspectives are existent within you, physically, organically, as well as technology, as we're watching this video here, are going to be imperative to understand, okay? And you're getting the understanding, right? You're being guided to reconsider these separations from self, from others, from energies, from frequencies, okay? From anything that you have been taught prior, okay? It's a space of unlearning and a reintegration into higher consciousness, okay? You are being guided to understand that you are your best judge, right? With get more information in reverse. You are no longer looking for signs externally. You are going within and going deeper to create signs and see those reflected back to you in the way that they align, okay, and have a vibrational truth and resonance for you. So this is you stepping into your power, your authority, giving space. So I've really picked up on different types of, now as we collectively are understanding, depending on where you are in the tribe. If you are in the tribe, you understand this, conspiracy truths that are taking place. And this may circle back to that energy I picked up on cloning, cloning energy, masking energy, illusions, lies, deception, right? And the terminology that I'm picking up is, even though something is righteous, it may not be quote unquote right, okay? And Yeah, you're being guided to not stop with this, okay? And confirmation through your channeling as well. You may be stepping further into spirituality and understanding terms like omnism and animism, okay? Non-duality or oneness, okay? Christ consciousness, okay? Yeah, separating from this concept of linear time, right? Within the near future reverse, this concept of time as we have been led to understand it. And something did come up recently too, where it's being described that I believe today, right now, been so much channeling and enjoying, it's the 16th of October, right? Based on my telephone. And us following the Gregorian calendar here in the Western world. This is a worldwide message, so depending on where you are, it may be different. And that's the point. That time has been essentially speeding up, moving faster, or even feeling as though it's moving faster if it hasn't specifically been doing so, right? But I'm circling back to time and your relation to the external world. You may be noticing other individuals, right, being stuck in a paradigm, okay, being stuck in a perceived box or limiting belief systems, and your awakening may be triggering them to awaken as well, possibly, and or they may be compromised. And when I say compromised, we'll circle back to the perspective within some individuals of society globally, but let's say locally here in the Western world, where COVID, an incident that did happen, if it did happen, many different perspectives on this, but COVID being a psychological operation, right? New studies being released, if you do your research online, stating that the COVID vaccination was in fact not specifically what it was presented to be. So with that, you creating these signs, you following your own inner guidance, you finding the knowledge within, even in these videos, providing for confirmation, spiritual clarity, or language and space for you to exist outside of what you feel you must do, you are your best guide, right? And the best way to guide is in being, right? The previous logic of the best teachers are eternal students, right? Yeah, reconsider again. Reconsider how I'm feeling this, the energy of this card. It's none of this is literal. So not taking things at face value, not taking things at face value online with the amount of algorithmic intelligence that can be used to manipulate voice, sound, effects, perception, subconscious, right? And we'll get back into the subconscious because I channeled that earlier as well. But, and being able to reconsider your part in the whole, okay? Your part in the whole of creation, of reality, of existence, and your power as a creator, okay? This can be within content creation. This can be within any modality of society. This can be within stepping outside of society and building this quote unquote new world and or facets of new ways of being to exist and thrive, okay? And what I'm picking up is a lot of us collectively may have been put in situations that were very detrimental, meant to break us in a sense, but not only break us, but and break us out of systems that were specifically not going to be succeeding. So getting the imagery of losing something is simply making space for you to have something new, right? And that is the perspective, okay? Also, I'm picking up, it may feel good to dying, right? When society has engineered reality to tell you so, right? So you really combating reality, and that is a big feat to be successful in. So congratulate yourself if you are not there yet. This is a clear indicator and sign that you are waking up, okay? This communication between us. Circling back to subconscious, right? I also was picking up, when it comes to conspiracy truths, these subconscious ways that we have been raped collectively, right? Where we are globally, collectively, societally unconscious to tools and mechanisms that may be used to attack us subconsciously, unbeknownst to ourselves. Some individuals have become so attached to those concepts and understandings of logic, which doesn't make complete sense anymore if we're taking a look around, and being so attached to that, and that being the identity, right? I'm a teacher, I made this, I made that, and these titles are now boxing individuals into the perceptions of what it meant to be a artist, a teacher, a author, a this, a that, when in fact reality and higher consciousness has been blending into new spaces and new dimensions for neurodivergency, inclusivity, right? Intersectionality, right? Places where you are balanced within the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, as above, so below, as light, as dark, as good, as evil. And all of these energetic concepts are now integrated into you, okay? Because you're able to recognize these subconscious influences and having high pattern recognition. If we want to get very technical and practical in the language, and or if you want to take it spiritually, your ancestors, your guides, however you connect to what reality is, as it is very much alive and malleable, similarly to your thoughts and your ability and capability to change or grow and adapt, right? I'm picking up neuroplasticity as well, and I'm also picking up learning, okay? Learning, okay? Being able to learn. Being able to learn. That's very significant. And I say this in the terms of discernment, to learn understanding, to learn new ways and forms of communication, nonverbal communication, literal communication, spiritual, ancestral communication, interdimensional communication, non-human intelligence, right? Tapping into this. Ooh. I'm also picking up emotional intelligence as well, as intelligence is no longer a linear term, it's intelligences, right? Where are your intelligences? Okay, the multiple that you have. Are you a great speaker? Are you a great healer? Are you a great emoter? Are you a great action taker? Are you a great, what great are you, right? And shifting from who are you, that only question, who are you? No, to who and what are you? And if so, maybe why? Okay, so that something outside of you is not telling you that answer. Key, okay? Now, yeah, this whole waiting game, being outside. So I'm using the Psychic Tarot deck, and at the bottom of the deck, we have the waiting game, okay? This hourglass figure, right? And you see how it's protected by this energy. Let's look at that, what I'm seeing it as, and I'm articulating for you. What I'm seeing this halo around the waiting game is that previously in the recent past, as we can consider the past, that would have been the cyclical nature, right? And it has its beautiful balance, and it has its own integrity, and it has gotten us this far in being, right? However, what I'm understanding is that that protected halo, some of us have stepped outside of that and started walking on the lines of dimensions. I'm now seeing these rays, these halos, these rings, okay, around, okay, that may be very significant as well, ringing, okay, ringing in the ear, signs and frequencies. You may want to look into what those terms mean spiritually, okay, and all the different ways that they can mean something. And some of us have stepped onto these rings of consciousness, these rings outside of time, still holy, still within the halo, right? And also possibly being of complete light, right? Being completely on a higher vibration and frequency. So what's been a theme throughout the past few years of spirituality and the conscious collective would be this terminology that Earth is splitting, right? And the dimensions and portals and timelines and parallels have been opening, right? And the veil has thinned. In reality, it has always been in this space. We are simply now in a frequency to recognize it, right? Energy has always been here. Knowledge has always been here. We are just now incorporating the growth in it, being able to understand this, okay? So the waiting game. So being outside of the waiting game, right? This past perspective of, okay, waiting for, okay, so your root chakra. Okay, so being stuck or imbalanced in the root chakra, right? Where financial and material changes, as well as material and spiritual prosperity, right? Really redefining from the base of understanding and logic, collectively, what this means. And many of us as the chosen ones, light workers, all of these different terms, you can use whatever language you need to understand the alignment of the energy, and are stepping away from traditional and or indoctrinated and or previous perspectives that led to those changes, right? Because we have change 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 may be significant. The number 2 may be significant. 2, 5, 6 may be significant. 6, 5, 2, any order, any arrangement. But those numbers based on numerology as well as numerically may be significant. You can look into different ways of cryptology as well. Do some research on that. Do some research into the different ways to understand angel numbers, numerology, all of it, right? All of it, because we're incorporating all. We are becoming whole, okay? Through this shift, okay? Through this shift. That's what I'm picking up. So I digress. The waiting game around having what you desire, okay? Not to rush, not to force, and not to speed through something, right? But to enjoy the process of the journey. Enjoying the process and the balancing and the rebalancing of material and spiritual prosperity. It is already yours, okay? It's so much already yours, you could even miss it. Not literally, but and you can be led into subconsciously understanding or believing that you don't have it, okay? All right, so yeah, you're being guided to stand your ground. Okay? Being guided to stand your ground, separating from this suffering in silence. Okay? It's a completion of that suffering in silence energy. All right? You're spiritually aligned and spiritually backed with the number 7 being here. This is how I am picking it up now. You may have your own application for this, okay? Start even in the readings, picking up your own signs and things to look for, okay? Because technology has been so multifaceted and manipulated that information may come to you that really is attempting to siphon your energy and or distract you or fragment you away from the collective, the energies that really will align and support you, okay? As we support each other. I am because we are, right? So yeah, solar plexus in reverse. So not only being based out of your creative energy, right? It seems that the energy was being attacked and or manipulated and or your own creative language, that's significant, your own creative language, your own creativity has been being it was attempted to be used against you, right? So let's say you have a strong mind. You may have been psychically attacked. You may have been mentally attacked. You may have felt mentally overloaded, right? But this is your creative energy. So feeling as specifically in relation to the sacral chakra, the color yellow as well, and orange, if you look in the background, okay? It looks like you may have been in a place of feeling that you can't create, that you can't move on, attempting to feel stuck and or isolated or giving up on or separating from any dreams, desires, goals that you are working towards, right? And or being in the embodiment of, okay? But it looks like you now have a conscious awareness of this, okay? With the crown chakra being so activated that it's light, okay? You have awareness of this and irreverent of gender as we look through tarot and energy outside of gender, because that is of a dualistic nature. Has its purposes. I mean, it's pleasureful, right? It's many things about that. But and separating from this and stepping into understanding, right? Accelerated motion, okay? Shooting star. You looking outside into the galaxy, okay? And seeing yourself reflected back, understanding that you and the galaxy, the shooting star, are not so separated at all. Right? The number 8 here being of very high significance. So this can also be looked into as the Ouroboros. I'm picking up hermetically, but I'm seeing that similarly to this physical card having the image of this divine feminine energy and the shooting star on the same card, it's not so separated, is it? And you seeing yourself similarly as Earth, the globe, reality, consciousness, our conversation, all falling into the same card, okay? But and not being so flat surfaced, 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, okay? Being multi-dimensional, 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, okay? In many different ways and layers. Now, this is available for everyone, but everyone may not come. And this is also a wounding that is being healed in the collective, where this savior energy or martyr energy, victim mentality, victor mentality, this game between win and lose is being separated from and stepping outside of that box and understanding that we have all collectively won and are able to win, stepping away from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset, okay? More than enough for everyone. More than enough for everyone. confirmation with the cackling. And you may have spirits around you and energies around you with this cloning energy. So attempting to use your energy to either debilitate you, okay, and or using other energies as in being compromised, right? Already being quote unquote infected. I'm picking up infected, having the virus of COVID, right? That shot that actually has been now understood based on science and empirical data to in fact have been a tool utilized to hurt and harm instead of help, right? And even, okay, this came up earlier as well, even in the attempts of individuals, hey, I want to help you, hey, I'm here to help, right? Being able to use discernment, because similarly to misery seeking corruption within the self, okay, and or corruption within corrupt companies, I'm picking up, misery is not the only thing that seeks company, okay, or seeks companies or corporations or organization or you building and establishing something. Snakes do this as well, right? So really being able to see who has been infected or and see with your eyes closed, right? Not just see with your eyes, but see, feel, sense, understand holistically how external individuals may have been subjugated and trapped within on their own doing, by their own volition, and outside of that, how that is impacting yourself. So for example, a lot of individuals that would identify as intellectuals, no smarter, no dumber, no hierarchy here. The point and context for the word choice is that individuals that have been in spaces of previously understood very high intelligence levels, let's say IT directors like myself previously being in corporate, doctors, lawyers, all of these different individuals, engineers, different groups of people are separating from these companies and these places and reintegrating themselves into a natural organic way of life post colonization, or in a sense decolonizing. But however, even that act of doing it collectively, independently, is not so much a individual act, it's a collective recolonization in a very different format. A recolonization, a tribal unit, a collection of being, right? And as more individuals awaken to this collectively, that lonely at the top perspective will not feel so lonely. And as well, we know that being alone does not specifically equal or define loneliness, right? Because as you become more whole, let me put it this way, as you become more monogamous with yourself, right? Loving all the good and bad parts of yourself, being able to recognize those aspects and give grace to yourself, you are then really, truly able to and empowered to have an unconditional love for everything external to you, with discernment and what works and what doesn't work for you by establishing your own signs that are not external of you, okay? Because this is good, this is bad. And it's up to you to have critical thinking to be able to see and differentiate between what actually is working and not working for you specifically, okay? Because I'll use the analogy, the spider web is chaos for the fly, but it is home for the spider, right? And we're stepping into a place of understanding that we are both the spider and the fly, as an analogy, okay? Some of us are not even identifying as completely human based on the unexplainable experiences that we have collectively undergone, right? It's very layered and multifaceted, okay? But so and are you, right? All right, so let's keep going. So coming to mind are gangs, cults, sex cults, sacrifice, ritual sacrifice, okay? These firm foundations that were built within these corrupted societies that feed off of others in a vampiric energy or frequency or state, okay, are being dismantled. So you may have energies and frequencies similarly to those that infected or viral term that I communicated, that firm foundation is being transferred to you, okay? So you may be the cult leader now, you may be the virus now, or the perceived virus, right? No negative or positive context, okay? But you're building a firm foundation within yourself, a base, okay? A lot of root work, a lot of root chakra work. And similarly to root work, there may have been within spiritual warfare concepts and different spiritual groups, there may have been some type of root work being attempted to be done on you. And I did pick up earlier that this may have even been from a past life. Example, why is this so difficult? Why is this happening to me? In the sense of you're doing everything right, you're feeling an alignment with yourself, and you know you are being true to yourself as you already have the answers. And we may not have been perceiving time in accurate context, okay? Because the past life, you may have been in a situation that, and thank you for the reader that has mentioned this, I'll go ahead and align that with them. But you may not have been aware of contracts made in previous lifetimes or levels of existence within whatever dimension you have been, more than simply human and or complicated or complex, integrated, dualistic, okay, human, that may have been impeding on these things and processes that you are now choosing to do, and that is now aligning for you and what you are consciously, okay? Yeah, causing some type of conflict and defeat, okay? So I'll put it this way. You may see harm happening to others, but you may not know that in a past life, I'll just go ahead and we'll go with the race analogies, where at one point slaves were of a darker skin color. You do not know if during that time you were born and incarnated to be a slave so that your soul can learn that experience, because in the past life, you were the master of the non-dark slaves. Do you understand? Okay? So this conflict and defeat, you're changing this conflict and defeat energy. You're changing this, right? And if we look, for the first time, I'm actually seeing on the cards as well, this is the physical representation of the masculine, right? I'm picking up Chiron, wounded warrior, but you see him channeling this pain from the ancestors as they ascend, right? Channeling and reaching down and falling down as they use that energy to ascend. And this may have been taking place where your energy was masked and or masked to higher divine forces in an attempt to keep you in a space, a destiny swap, these perspectives of destiny swap, these cloning energies, okay? And that's being cleared. All right, beautiful, nice, okay. So let's continue. Okay, 1 and 2, 21 may be significant. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so something about mic, something about the name mic, something about a physical mic, that a microphone that you would hold. Okay, something about you being meant to be in this position of power, you embracing this beast energy and this divine heavenly energy and balancing the two. And this is what abundance, this is what power is, not by domination, not by coercion, but by being. And this is the resonance of truth. There you go. This is protected, this halo of energy around you. Okay, irreverent of the gender. There are female lions, there are male lions, there are in-between lions, okay? Nobody's lying, and that's the thing, okay? Okay, the name Brian may be significant, okay? But balance, okay? Balancing this inner child wound, balancing your inner child, your higher self, your teen self, all of the different aspects of the human experience, okay? And the more that you're integrating and balancing these things and able to identify and reflect on these things and aspects of yourself, the more your emotional intelligence will increase, the more your thought processing will increase, the more your brain will have, and I'll circle back to neuroplasticity, right? Being able to learn and integrate into these beautiful aspects of what is to be a new creature, right? And I'm seeing a Venn diagram, okay? And in the Venn diagram, as these two, let's do it this way, right? In the Venn diagram, there's now a new thing in the middle, right? You see my eye? Okay, so that may be very significant symbolism. So I'm picking up some occultism, I'm picking up some different forms of magic, okay? But choosing wisely, okay? Being able to make this choice wisely. Something significant about birds. You may have seen 2 birds today, 2 parrots. They may be coming up in your near future. I'm possibly speaking into existence for you, and that'll be confirmation for you. I'm picking up laws of attraction. I'm picking up Abraham Hicks. I'm picking up Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm picking up Dr. Sebi. You may want to look into these different clinical professionals and or channelers to get more information and elucidation on things that may help you, okay? Because I did pick up some type of illness or some type of dis-ease within the body or the constructs of your energy flow, okay, during the reading, and that may be helpful for you to step into understanding the different modalities of healing, okay? You may be meant to be a healer. You may be meant to be a speaker, as we did get that mic channeling earlier, right? Okay. I'm also picking up not to speak with your genitals alone. Okay, so don't be, I'm picking up, you choose what you like, right? But I'm picking up a rebalancing to your base chakra and your solar plexus chakra. Instead of thinking with your heart, right, you may have been thinking with your body parts, your visual aspects, okay? Being very primal, stuck and splintered into only this beast energy, which is very pleasurable and it has its own benefits. You can check out my kink and taboo ethical content for more information on that, and more channeling energy on that. But you are in this place of victory and success. Yeah, look, you're in this place of victory and success. Okay, the number 6 here, balance. You've reached a balance, a divine balance. Okay, and the significance of this halo, and also similarly the halo and the sun ray and ring and halo within this trumpet energy, again this red and yellow theme. Okay, so really communicating from your base, okay, from a newfound structure. Excuse me, karmic release as well, I'm picking up, but spiritual burp. Really picking up yourself, okay, rising yourself in your energy and communicating that effectively, as we have greens, or so something significant about green. I'm also picking up plantation, maybe a place, maybe a name. Those letters may be significant for you, but plantation, cactus as well. But picking up on your organic nature, right? Really tapping into your heart chakra, and it's healed your base, okay, and your creativity, and you're speaking this out in relation to the color blue, okay, and your crown chakra has activated. I'm picking up resonance, okay? I'm picking up Om, I'm picking up frequencies and music that is going to be singing and activating and upgrading the DNA cells within your body, okay? The number 7, all right? I'm also picking up to mention this is for my aliens, okay? This is for my alien tribe. This is for those that are non-conforming, that are not standardized, that are not feeling and fitting within any box, and you are very much aware of this, okay? Depending on where you are on your spiritual journey, this may be new for you. And again, this is all guidance and up for interpretation, and if you know, you know, okay? Okay, so, yeah, you may be in a place of solitude right now, or feeling or having perceived solitude for a completion of some form of project, some form of creation, some form of complete stability and balancing, right? And you're being guided to do this. Do you see that one single star in the entire card watching, guiding you, okay? This reflection of self, this soulmate of self, this life path of self, okay? And or you may have a soulmate coming in very quickly, or soulmates, right? Because there is a plural terminology to soulmates depending on where you are in the timeline, okay? Yeah, suffering in silence complete. That solar plexus being out of balance complete. Yeah, you feel, the energies feel very aligned for you, okay? And don't mind any of the random noises and sounds. This is a channeling and energy coming through, okay? So something significant about that as well, you being gracious and courteous to yourself, and or the way that you are projecting yourself, okay? Nice. I'm picking up as well as all of you is valid. All of you is valid. All of you are valid. All of you and all of others are valid, okay? There is validity within being, okay? Everything is sacred, okay? This is what I'm picking up. So we have the karma cards here, okay? Circling back to the noises and the ad-libs that you hear me making and creating and that are organically expressed from myself, I would definitely say that that has significance, right? So not tempering yourself to fit into any box, right? Allowing yourself to be, allowing yourself, and oh my goodness. As soon as I split the deck on the karma cards, we get the North Node and the Sun, really tapping into what makes you, you, understanding that so you are able to efficiently and effectively communicate it outwardly and have that be given back to you within self-worth, within dignity, within understanding, right? Getting told no, being rejected, all of these things are honoring yourself, okay? How do you know you're on the right path? Because you are not sacrificing any parts of yourself anymore, and thus you now align with those individuals, groups, consciousnesses, okay, timelines, dimensions that are not dishonoring themselves either. And that will look very different and unique for each and every single person, similar to the amount of species we have existing on this planet if we are in the space of understanding the planet as a globe, the planet as flat earth, the planet as a projection, reality as a hologram, right? It all depends on where you are consciously within your spiritual journey and the languages that you are able to tap into and use, okay? I'll leave it at that. All perspective based, okay? Okay. Now, because we're stepping away from engineered reality and society that has been subconsciously attacking, right? Using this Pluto energy, this dark, heavy energy, okay? The dense energies, okay? I want to say demonic, but in the sense of just heavy, dark, dense energies, that control is being released as we step into this Aquarian age. If you are looking into astrology, astronomy, the stars, and understanding those things to exist, because also very relative to this reading, the NASA website, space company or corporation within the Western world has been shut down, right? And now, did it ever exist? Okay, so really understanding your perception creates your reality, and anything that you imagine is real to specific extents of the definition of what is real. And the definition of what is real has been changing at an accelerated pace. All right, so you're seeing externally, collectively, a lot of individuals unable to integrate all of these new ways of being, because for so long, years, hundreds of years, centuries, right, we have been in a place of the Piscean age, and those truths and the way of operating has been specifically that, okay, and falling into these laws, okay? But and you are a visionary, most of the tribe here is, if you are an individual meant to be the first to create, to be, to exist within this dimensional reality, of course, there may not be specific guides and steps for you to take. There would be no way for you to follow an order, as you are a part of a new order, okay? Many layers to that, okay? I'm picking up occult groups, cults, all of these different terminologies and secret society things that are not so secret that you can think of, okay? I'm also hearing don't be afraid, okay? That may be very significant. Don't be afraid, okay? Don't be afraid. Become the fear. That's triggering to another channeled message I got earlier, and I really wanted to share with you all, is that we are now moving from a place of being one element, one single singular thing, thought, being, way of being, to being all of them at once. And those unable to integrate to the energy of being so multifaceted, ambidextrous, multilingual, multidimensional, neurodivergent, intersective, will be finding themselves possibly within spaces that they may not be able to escape from. Okay, all perception based. All right, so we have Neptune, Libra, and so these signs may be significant, these planets may be significant. You may have a Neptune in Libra in your birth chart. If you're interested in a birth chart reading, go ahead and check out the link in the bio and connect with me for a specific one-on-one reading. I do only specific readings though that I'm guided to for individuals. All right, let's see. I'm picking up Simba, Na Savenia, so something about Disney as well. Disney, the physical location, wherever that company or corporation may be within your local region or area of the world, and or Disney as in programming, okay, and the rituals and satanic abuse that has been recognized within those things. No good, no bad, no evil, just in between. Just pointing out the stripping of illusions. So the strippings of illusions, and also something significant about mouses. You may have the Eastern zodiac sign of the rat. Okay, that may be significant for you. Okay, so spiritually, you're being guided to understand, well, so spiritually, the message coming through is the idolization of cooperation to perfect insights, to understand balance. Okay, so understanding insights and cooperation for perfect understanding, okay? Perfectly imperfect understanding, right? The unexplainable, undeniable, about adding space and leaving space for creation and growth and expansion, remodeling, redefining, okay? This would be liking to what has been channeled, right? So far previously to these cards. Now, mentally, confusion regarding insights and cooperation. Okay, take that back. Okay, so I do believe energetically and astrologically something being mentioned about the retrograde. So feeling that you're stuck in a retrograde. Okay, if you relate to understanding astronomy and astrology and the cycles of planetary natures, okay, the cyclical natures of planets, If you don't, again, reach out, check for yourself. But mentally, confusion regarding the wisdom of cooperation, confusion regarding decisions about cooperation, right? So the way that we ourselves, and how I'm picking up this energy is the way that we ourselves are interpreting, okay, and or gaining wisdom, okay, and the decisions about that wisdom. What's the next direction? Okay, some confusion around that mentally. So really taking yourself out of this Neptunian energy and balancing it and channeling it with Libra. Okay, because you have Libra and the 7th house. Okay, so heavy on the balance, heavy on the self-balance, heavy on the external balance, heavy on the relationships and the relationship to yourself, your higher self, your family, your friends, and that cloning energy that I mentioned where things are being masked. So really, really tapping into your inner knowing, going deeper, right? Growing up, going deeper within. So no hierarchy, but going deeper within to understand externally. Okay, and then physically, sacrifice resulting from the fairness shown by your partners. Okay, so possibly sacrificing external relationships, sacrificing the matrix 9 to 5, right? Sacrificing monetary gains, okay? Sacrificing in one aspect to grow holistically in others, okay? That perceived loss, making space for more. Okay, so sacrifice resulting from the understanding of your partners, right? So sacrificing partners and sacrifices shown from your partners. And when I see sacrificing shown from partners, what did your ancestors sacrifice through? What did your consciousness, emotions, your mentality, your physical body, your nervous system, what did these aspects of the human experience sacrifice for you? And what did you sacrifice for yourself to even be here, able to watch this video? Okay, and I'm picking up no attachments to the word sacrifice, but circling back, depending on where you're on the timeline. So some type of sacrifice, possibly in the recent past, there was a sacrifice to an illusion, okay? And that can be bittersweet. I'm picking up bittersweet symphony, okay? A bittersweet symphony, this sacrifice, okay? And something significant about the number 35, okay? Almost feeling as though with this retrograde energy, even though we're astrologically not specifically within I'm picking up estrogen retrograde. So divine feminine retrograde, okay, and etching into so the divine feminine energy breaking away from being etched into a permanent retrograde that possibly was being projected onto the collective consciousness and now being integrated into and understood, processed, transmuted into our way of being. Okay, man, this is a good one. All right, this is turning into a lot of information for us. Okay, the fluidity of the channeling. So something significant as well about fluids. Okay, being all the elements. All right, tapping into your fluidity. All right, however that may fit sexually, may fit mentally, may fit emotionally, may fit globally, may fit societally, may fit personally, may fit interdimensionally. How many different ways, and all of those ways for you to be. Now, the guided action from spirit. Inspire others with your highest ideals diplomatically, right? Balance, because this whole you're right, I'm wrong, you're right. All of those fingers pointing back and forth are leading to no answers, right? So really getting these angel answers, getting these psychic hits and intuitive hits, okay? Your psychic and clair abilities may be activating as well. And at this point, collectively, we're all very familiar with psychic terminology and things of that nature, but especially within the tribe. However, you tap into that energy. High pattern recognition, if we want to go from a militant government perspective, intuition, if we want to go for a spiritual perspective or feminine perspective, okay, or perceived feminine energy perspective, or even ancestral if you want to go that way, and or interdimensional if you identify as an alien and have experienced things that have yet to be logically explained, right? Because logic as we have understood it is evolving, okay, into sense, okay, with different types of senses. Okay, I'm picking up a Kundalini awakening with this hand movement. So inspire others with your highest ideals diplomatically. Inspire others with relationships diplomatically, right? How are you moving and operating within yourself, the relationship of yourself, and the relationship externally to you, the relationships externally to you. Hey, maybe even though you've had this experience with karmics and past life members and all of these different things, this is not a sign to go back and invest in those situations. I highly advise against going back. to those situations. But then take a look at what karmic patterns you attracted yourself to being there. Also, think about what outside circumstances or individuals or groups may have been manipulating these situations just for the shit show, right?